This has been my project for this week. I really love where we've landed right now. The youngest two can play while the other two do their book work. So don't look too closely. This is going to be a part of our daily morning routine. Hello, good morning, welcome here. My name is Delilah if you are new, and I am so excited about today's video because today I am taking you through a walkthrough or a tour of our updated playroom slash homeschool room. This room has been our playroom since we moved in, but just recently, like just this last week, I've kind of turned it also into a homeschool room to use in this coming year. So at the time of filming this, we are just about to dive into our third school year. My oldest is in grade 2. I've also got one in kindergarten this year, and then I've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old as well. And so just considering the stage of life that we're in with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, I thought maybe it would be a good idea to do some school in this playroom so that the youngest two can play while the other two do their book work, and we can all kind of be in one room together. I'm sure we'll switch it up. We'll be in the dining room sometimes, we'll be in here sometimes, but I wanted to at least make a space where we could be in here and learn in here. So this last week I have been getting this room ready. I've been preparing for our school year and just trying to plan it out a little bit, and so I've made some minor changes to this room. There are some larger scale projects in this room that we have yet to accomplish, things like painting the trim. We want to fix the trim on that window. I want to make curtains for that window. I need different curtains for this window. We want to change the sconces. We're thinking about doing like a board and batten wall in here. We need to paint the ceiling, like lots of little renovation projects. But for now, this room functions for us just the way we need it to. We've got some color on the wall that I'm going to show you in a minute. So in this video, I'm going to just kind of walk you through what we've got going on in here. I'm going to talk a little bit about play and how I do toy rotations and some of the toys that we have. The different areas of play that I have set up in this room. I'm also going to leave links to everything down below. I actually have links on my website for all these things. I have a whole section on my website for links of stuff that we have. And in that there's different categories, like there's a toys category, there's a homeschool category. So I'm going to leave those 2 categories down below, but there's more to shop if you are curious about anything. I'm also going to walk you through some of our homeschool supplies. I won't go too in depth about our supplies and our curriculum and what our year is going to look like. That's going to be a separate video, but for now I'm just going to walk you through and show you what we've got going on here. I can hear little people starting to wake up, so we'll see how this goes. We're going to start over here in this corner. So you walk in through the entrance, that's where I was just filming. And so this is the first part of the playroom. I've always kind of struggled with this room because it's such an open space. Like there's not a lot of wall space. It's kind of like a hallway, like it's a walk-through room. And so it's challenging to fit things in here in a way that the toys or the things don't get in the way of walking through the room. It's not an easy room to work with, but I really love where we've landed right now. So in this corner, I recently purchased this shelf off of Amazon. And it's a rotating shelf. And it's so cute, and it's perfect for the space because you can put so many things on here. And it's just the perfect size for this little nook of our room. We've got some books, we've got some toys. A few favorite items on here is our Bible Stories player. This is something that will be used during morning time or quiet time, especially as we start getting into a school routine. Up here we have spot dots, or these are like flat field cones. So these are rubber. We can take them outside and use them outside, but they're just different colors. We'll use these for story time or for games. Where each of the kids has to sit on their spot dot and they have to stay there. Or for games from jumping from one color to the next. These have been very useful for our homeschool. We've got some of our favorite books on here. The 7 Silly Eaters is a favorite. Blueberries for Sal is a favorite. We really love Little House on the Prairie books. My son really enjoys these. These are Billy and Blaze. It's like a series. He really likes those. And then of course our rainbow gets a lot of use and stuff like that. We will be changing the sconces out eventually. I'm searching Marketplace looking for something new. But for now they function. This is actually the only light source in this room. We don't have any overhead lighting, so I'd love to get some sort of like lamp or something else in here to add some more ambient light, some more brightness in this room. On the wall here is something I've had actually for a really long time. This is a world map that I bought probably like 5 years ago. It's had its different spots around this room over the last number of years, but this is where it's landed right now, and I really love the way that this all looks together. Now in front of this window, this has been a challenging spot because I adore this window. I love all the light that comes through it. It was one of my favorite features of the home when we bought it, but what I didn't think about was, what do you put in front of it? It's really challenging because it goes quite low to the ground. We've got a register vent right underneath it, so you can't actually put anything right up against the window. So what we've come up with is that this area of the playroom is where like a larger toy goes, something like our ball pit, which is currently here. Sometimes we'll have like a pickler triangle. Sometimes the nugget is here. Just like a bigger item that the kids can play on or play in that doesn't need to be tucked up against the wall. Moving on to the other corner of that window, this has become like our pretend play area. It used to be over in that corner, but we have since moved a homeschool cabinet to that corner. We've moved the play kitchen and pretend play area over here, and this seems to be working really well. I would love to get some shelving or baskets or something in here so that there's more storage. That's another thing that I kind of struggle with in this room, is that my children, when they play pretend play, they love to play with all of their pretend play, like all the dolls, the high chair, the stroller. They've got like a grocery store they love to use. They've got this washing machine, the kitchen, like they want to play with it all at once, but we don't have room for all of it in here. So I just try and rotate frequently so that they get use of all their things. But the play kitchen is one that never moves. It gets used daily by multiple children, specifically one of my children. It's been a favorite. I've always wanted to redo this kitchen, and maybe one day I will, but this is just the IKEA kitchen. It has done well. It's a good one. Over here currently we have a washing machine, and I get a lot of questions about this. This is an adorable little wooden washing machine that my daughter actually bought with her birthday money one year, and we found it off Marketplace. It's a vintage washing machine. It's not new, so unfortunately it's not something that you can actually buy. This was something that she really wanted for her birthday, so she bought that with her birthday money. And then of course, thrifted baskets. Lots of this stuff is thrifted. Moving on to this wall. This is all new. This has been my project for this week. I basically just collected a lot of random things that I had around the home and stuck them on this wall. This poor wall is so full of holes. Like behind these pictures, you don't want to see what it looks like. It's really bad, but we do have plans to fix it up. Like I said, we want to do like a board and batten wall or something to add a subtle pop of color to this room. Again, it's a challenging room because it's so open concept. Like from this spot right here, I can see our entrance, I can see our hallway, I can see into our kids' room, I can see our living room, I can see our kitchen. Like this is such a large area. It's not its own space, so it has to be cohesive with the rest of the house. It's not an easy space to design, so I want to do some kind of color that will still match the rest of the house, but make it fun for the kids. My thought process was, let's just kind of get some stuff on the wall now so that later when we do fix this wall, we know which holes to patch and which ones to leave. So don't look too closely because there's a lot of scuffs and dents and holes in this wall. So for a long time I was struggling with what to do here because this is pretty much the only wall space that we have. I thought maybe doing some kind of storage system so that we'd have more spot to store stuff, but that's not really what we needed in this room. I used to have a pegboard here where we stored craft stuff, but that system really didn't work. I just took everything down and left it blank for a while, and then I saw Milena share her homeschool room, and she just had posters everywhere, and I thought that was beautiful. And since this room is kind of a playroom, kind of a homeschool room, I thought, why not use this space to do the same thing? So thank you, Elena, for the inspiration. I just went around my house this week and I started collecting stuff. This chalkboard was from the nursery. We've had this gather mat for the longest time. It's had a few different homes throughout our home over the years, but it's here now. I found a clipboard. This vintage abacus that we actually use frequently within school. Now we can just pull it off the wall and use it. I've had this for ages, and then all these different frames and poster hangers. The only thing that's new is some of the artwork. So I went to Etsy and I downloaded a bunch of artwork for very cheap, and then I printed either some of it from our printer at home, but for the larger ones like these posters, I sent to London Drugs and just printed like an 11 by 14 print. Doing it that way was very affordable. I also was able to customize it to what I wanted. All these frames that you see here are thrifted long ago. They've been in my stash for a long time, so I was able to bring them out. This clipboard was from the dollar store. Again, this chalkboard was thrifted and it was hanging in my daughter's room. The only thing that's really new here is this poster. We got this from a local shop, but you can buy them online and I'll link it below. They're very affordable. It was either $6 or $9, I can't remember, but I'll link it below. So I love this wall because it's not only very interesting to look at, it's also very educational. There's a lot of information here. I wanted to mix some school education with some memory verses and scripture. So we've got like, you know, the colors, we've got the number chart, we've got 3D shapes and an abacus. We've got like Earth's resources, that's something we're going to be learning in science this year, and a Canada map. But then we've also got the Lord's Prayer up here, and fruit of the Spirit, and the armor of God. And then in this one, I plan to switch out our memory verse every week. So this is something that I'm doing myself. I'm creating my own memory verse pages, or I might switch it and do like memory verse cards and just like add a card to the wall somewhere. But each week we're going to do a new memory verse, and I want to make it beautiful and pretty and add it to this wall. So that it's here and we can look at it and it's easy to point out and spot. I've got the first week's memory verse up on the wall. I have a whole list of memory verses that I want to memorize, that I want my children to memorize. A lot of the memory verses I've chosen are very specific to different challenges that we face on a daily basis, and I think probably a lot of other moms also face. Verses like, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Verses that are very applicable to our lives, to our children's lives, and just, you know, challenges of childhood and motherhood. So very relatable. This is a project that I'm currently working on, and if I can get it to work well, I might actually start selling a downloadable version on my website. So keep an eye out for that, because I think that would be really cool. Like I was saying, this is a very fun, functional space as well, because I can also use the chalkboard for teaching purposes. Kids have already been playing hangman on there. And I can always switch it up, like because these are frames and poster hangers, like it's very easy for me to just come in here and switch out the poster or the picture in the frame with something that we are learning about this week or this year or this month. Again, don't look too closely at all the holes in the wall. Underneath here we have our nugget couch. This is one that gets rotated out. Sometimes it's downstairs, sometimes it's up here. But we really, really love our nugget couch. This is probably the #1 most used toy in our home. It's a nice spot for me to come and sit and relax and play with the kids, but I also find they're often sitting here or playing on here or building something out of it or wrestling on it or whatever. So I love having it up here, especially in a homeschool room. We're gonna move on over there. This is a recent addition to our homeschool room, and this is our homeschool cabinet. This is actually an antique wardrobe that we found on Marketplace for a really good deal. And Zach built shelves to go in here, so now we can store all kinds of stuff. I want to do some kind of a homeschool cabinet tour video, maybe not on YouTube, maybe on a different platform. But this has been amazing. This works so much better than having our craft stuff up on the wall. I love having it closed up in a pretty space, and the kids are able to easily reach for it too. And I find that since moving stuff into here, they've been using it so much more. So we've got all of my like teacher supplies and extra stuff. We've got printer, we've got paper, then we've also got the kids' craft supplies. I love pulling these things out for like my son when he's in a lull, kind of waiting for me to finish teaching my daughter, or when my 3-year-old gets bored. This is another favorite one. We've got a mat with the lines and then wooden letters. So the consonants are red and the vowels are blue. And then this is just a fun spelling tool that just makes it more interesting than writing on a piece of paper. Other fun tools include these magnetic boards. This is a more recent purchase. These are also great for traveling. We've got a few of them. So this is actually a Mario themed one, and it's a color one. They've got to take these guys and bring them threw all the obstacles down into the right color. It's really fun. This one's also really cool. This is the alphabet. One side is lowercase letters, the other side is uppercase letters. There's these little beads inside of there. If you lay it flat, you can pop them down. This is a magnetic stylus, and it brings them all up as you trace them, and it's really fun. I do it sometimes. Other than that, we've got like paint supplies, we've got craft supplies, we've got Play-Doh and all sorts of stuff in here. Up top we've got gather mats to lay down when things get messy, and we've got a globe. This is another thing that I hung up this week. These cards and this plane are 2 new additions. Again, I was trying not to spend money. I was trying to just use stuff that we already had on hand, and I had a number of different flashcards and things that we didn't really use. So instead of actually using them as flashcards, I put them up on the wall so that they're just more interesting to look at. And I find my kids really enjoy seeing different changes like this up on the wall, and they're more intrigued by it. Then this airplane used to be hanging in our nursery. We have something else hanging there now, so I wanted to hang it up in here just because it's cute. Over here is where we have our calendars. This is a perpetual calendar that we can change as the months go on. These are just magnetic, so you can pop them off and switch the days. You can add fun little pieces for birthdays. This is going to be a part of our daily morning routine in school. We're going to be talking about the days of the week, months of the year, days of the month. We've done that the last couple of years with my daughter, but now we're going to be starting to do it with my son. So this is something that we are going through again, as well as the weather board. This is actually from a Love Every box, and it has gotten a lot of use. It's got the day of the week and different seasons and temperature and weather and weekday or weekend. And it's those 2 boards we've used a ton in our homeschool. The next section of our playroom is the toy shelf. So you'll notice there are different areas of play within our toy room. We've got the toy shelf where a lot of the small pieces or individual toys are. We've got like the pretend play area, the bigger play area. I don't know what you would call that, but then we've also got like the bookshelf and other stuff there. When we rotate toys, this is mostly what we're rotating. This is a little bit more challenging to film. Zach actually built this toy shelf a long time ago. This is one of those pieces that moved from our old house to this house, so it's hung out with us for a long time. And it's gotten lots of use. This is where we store things like blocks and small pieces, all these little characters. We've got like some pretend play with the makeup set and doctor kit. We've got tons of cars. Cars are always on here. And then the bottom shelf currently is baby toys because Annie is starting to play now. So then the shelf is accessible to her. Some of her favorites include the classic stacking toys. She just got these ones for her birthday. These are really fun. I'll show you. They're like big blocks with things inside of them. Like this one has sand. This one has glitter and water. So it's just really fun for her. We've also got some train tracks over here. This has been a huge hit this week. Like I said, when we rotate toys, this is mostly what we're rotating. We've got a variety of other toys like this downstairs that we just kind of rotate through. Okay, now the very last area of our playroom is the center of our playroom, which currently holds our Homeschool Station, or I guess this is where we would spend time doing bookwork and crafts and stuff like that. For the longest time, we just had one of these tables, and it served us very well. But as we added more children to our family and they started using these tables, we realized it was time to expand. So we now have 2 of the IKEA tables. I don't remember what these are called, but these are like the sensory tables that you can open up. We've shoved them together and it makes a nice big space for the kids to play. They've each got their own space. I love that this acts as a table, but also storage underneath and a play area underneath. I like to set out things like puzzles and books and other things that will pique their interest. They often come to these and play with them. But underneath, I recently swapped out these 2 bins with Duplo Lego. Lego is a huge hit in our family. We love Lego, and Duplo is safe for the oldest 2 to use, specifically my 1-year-old. And so I have no problem with them using this Lego around her. But they just love building stuff with these, and they're always in here building something, creating something. These 2 spots are Duplo Lego right now. I plan to swap out these bins with things like magnet tiles and other building things. And then in this table, this is where my son has his rocks right now. So he loves rocks, which is really fun. So he's got some magnifying glasses and he's got some paper and information about different rocks, and he loves to just look at these and play with these. But I keep them here in the table because, again, we have a 1-year-old, and we just got to be very careful about what ends up on the floor. So it's tucked away, it's here, and the rule is it stays here. In the last part of our table, we currently have kinetic sand, which is a huge favorite and has been for a very long time. We are huge fans of kinetic sand in our home. One of my sons in particular really enjoys playing with his cars in this spot of sand. So it'll be really cool to be able to have him play here while the other two are doing their schoolwork. And this does not belong in here. Also, can I just say, our playroom is never this clean. I cleaned it especially for you for this video. It gets cleaned every single day, but it gets a lot of use. Our kids are in here constantly and they're using this space, and if a space is being used, it's not going to be neat and tidy. This is not what it looks like on a daily basis. It looks messy and used and lived in and loved. I think that concludes the tour. If there's anything that you have questions about, please let me know. If there's any links that I might be missing on my website, let me know. Again, once we get a couple weeks into homeschool and we've kind of got our routine down, I'd love to share more about our routine and what that looks like this year, because this year is going to look a lot different than last year, because last year I was only really teaching one child and I had a newborn. This year I'm teaching 2 children and I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so it's gonna just look a little bit different as our family evolves and grows. Routines are looking a little bit different, and I want to be a little bit more structured with our school year this year. And I'm really looking forward to it, so I'm excited to share that with you. But for now, I'm going to end this video. I need to go make breakfast for some hungry kiddos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.